look on the ASA. Oh my gosh. They're all going against them.
You are walking alone in the middle of a huge city. There are tall buildings, brightly lit shopping malls, and magnificent avenues around you. But something feels strange. Despite the city being so colorful, there is not a single person around. Everywhere is deserted and lifeless. The city feels like it's been abandoned, and your mind is filled with questions such as, why isn't there a single person here? If there is no one, why are these great buildings and decorations here? If there is no one living here, what's the point of all this effort and expense? It's quite similar to the universe we live in, isn't it? There are massive stars and galaxies, yet everything feels so empty. Or can we be mistaken? Could it be that we are truly alone in this endless expanse of space? Or maybe, even if we can't see them, are there beings living out there? So what's the answer to these questions according to Islam? Does Islam support the existence of aliens? Today, we are diving into a mysterious topic. You may hear things you have never heard before. Make sure to watch until the end. Many people ask this question, is there a different type of life out there in the universe that we haven't seen yet? The answer in Islam is yes. The Qur'an and Hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ describe a different kind of living beings spread throughout the universe. While they may not be called aliens, they are referred to as angels, malaika, and spiritual beings, ruhaniyat. Angels are created from light and exist across the universe. In fact, this vast and seemingly endless universe is filled with these beings. There are various kinds of angels. Just as rain and sun are completely different entities, angels differ greatly from each other as well. Some might object by saying, but these claims make no sense and lack evidence. We neither see nor hear them, and I doubt that science would ever accept the idea of angels. Then, let's talk about the rational proofs behind their existence. The idea that existence is based on only what we can see with our bare eyes is fundamentally false. Is seeing really the only source of knowledge? Why should we limit our minds like this? Imagine standing in front of a mountain. You can see a massive cloud of smoke rising. Even if you can't see the fire with your own eyes, wouldn't you logically think that there is a fire there? Even if your eyes cannot see it, your mind tells you that the fire exists. In the same way, angels may not be visible to the physical eye, but they can be clearly understood and known through intellectual insight. Does clearly sound a little too bold? Let's explore this further and you can decide for yourself. In fact, all the evidence that proves the truth of the Qur'an also proves the existence of angels. Why? Because proving the validity of the Qur'an automatically confirms everything it contains. Apart from the Qur'an, we can also understand the existence of angels by using simple logic and looking at the universe. Take a closer look around you. Even on our small planets, you'll come across various kinds of life. Scientists estimate that there are around 8 million species of living creatures. There are countless members in each species, and every second, new ones are being created while others pass away. Wherever we look, there is life and spirit. For example, go outside and take a handful of soil. Even if you can't see it with your eyes, that soil contains tens of thousands of different types of living organisms. Scientifically, even a single handful of soil is home to many microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and other invisible tiny creatures. So how can we witness all this and still claim that there is no other form of life in the entire universe? Some people might object by saying, but these are physical beings and angels aren't physical. But as we mentioned earlier, why do we limit our reasoning to only what we can see through the naked eye? Why do we focus only on what is physical? Is there a logical understanding for this? Let's consider this. Is life only dependent on being made from soil, water, seeds, or sperm? Why do we limit ourselves like this? Why should the creation of a being from light be considered irrational? In fact, when we think logically, concepts like life and soul are far removed from material. So, if thousands of living beings can emerge from physical materials like soil, water, seeds, sperm, or elements, why should it be impossible for life to emerge from something as delicate as light? Let's try to understand this better with a story from the Tafsir of the Risale-i Nur. There were two friends visiting a large city. One of them had never seen the city life before, while the other was used to it. During their journey, they come across an old, small, and damaged house in a quiet area. They are surprised to see that there are many people living in this harsh and difficult place. Then, as they lift their heads, they see the great city they are heading towards. There are tall buildings, colorful palaces, and incredible skyscrapers. The one who has never seen a city before claims that there can be no one living in those buildings and that such a lifestyle is impossible. Surprised at what he heard, his friends respond, even though you just saw with your own eyes that many people were living in that small, rundown house, How can you claim that no one can be living in these massive glowing buildings? Then he says, not seeing something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Similarly, our world is like that small house, and the galaxies and stars in the universe are like the great glowing city. Even on this tiny Earth, we can observe millions of species of living beings. From tiny ants to amazing eagles, from playful rabbits to giant whales, life is everywhere. So how can we claim that there is no life among the massive stars and galaxies? Not seeing something doesn't prove its non-existence. Logic tells us that life exists in the entire universe. Our Earth is not even a dot in the universe. Yet Allah has filled this tiny place with countless living beings. Even as some pass away, others continuously replace them. Allah constantly renews His creation. When we look at volcanic mountains, even in that terrifying fire, we see bacteria capable of living in those almost impossible conditions. Or when we go underground, we also find various creatures that are living in those layers. Would Allah, who fills even the smallest places with life, truly leave the vast universe empty? Of course not. It's clear that He has created countless angels to live in conditions suited to those worlds. Bediüzzaman Said Nursi explains this beautifully. Just as fish live in water, light-filled creatures inhabit the sun's fire. Fire does not burn light, rather fire supports it. Even in the scientific world, creatures have been discovered in places once thought to be unlivable. Extremophiles, for example, are organisms found living in volcanic craters or the depths of the ocean. What once seemed impossible has turned out to be possible. Consider the purpose of an exhibition. Isn't it to have visitors come and experience it? Imagine a vast empty desert. Would you present an exhibition there? No, because there would be no one to visit it, right? Or would you prepare a grand feast in the middle of a deserted island where no one could attend it? Again, no, because feasts are meant for guests. Similarly, the universe is like an exhibition. There must be guests to understand and appreciate the meanings in this grand display. Where there is fine skilled work, delicate decoration, and fine artistry, it shows that they are prepared for visitors. Now, look at the creations around you from this point of view. Allah has designed every creation, big or small, in a very beautiful and meaningful way. He created the rabbit, the butterfly, the dolphin, and other creatures, each in their own unique way. He designed the clouds differently from the snowflakes. Every single creation has detailed artistry. Even a single fruit has colors, scents, patterns, flavors, and benefits, each crafted with care. But who can truly understand the deep meanings behind all this? Who can fully grasp and appreciate the detailed workings of the vast universe and fulfill the purpose of this creation? You might ask, but don't humans fulfill this purpose already? Humans are not completely capable of this. We might achieve only a very small part of it. In fact, we often forget to focus on the meanings. Think about your breakfast today. Did you think about its deeper meaning? Or were you just focused on eating to feel satisfied? Many times we overlook Allah's blessings and creativity. From this point of view, it becomes clear that angels must exist to fully grasp the meanings of creation and to glorify Allah in the way He deserves. What if I told you that, in some way, even atheists accept the idea of angels? How would you respond to that? First of all, throughout history, all societies have in one way or another believed in angels or spiritual beings. These beings have been referred to as angels, devils, good forces, or evil forces. But the point I want to emphasize is this. The belief in a spiritual power beyond the physical world has always existed, whether right or wrong. The only thing that changes over time is the names. For example, in the Babylonian belief system, there were both angels and jinn. In Zoroastrianism, the 6 holy beings known as Amesha resemble angelic beings. In ancient Greece, there were the concepts of daimon and genius. In Hinduism, Deva and Apsara represent spiritual and unseen beings. In Mahayana Buddhism, across China, Japan, and Korea, spiritual beings referred to as Deva also exist. So, isn't it fascinating that the belief in spiritual beings and angels exists in some form all around the world? Could it really be a coincidence? Could something so widely accepted across human history be entirely untrue? If such a shared knowledge exists across all societies and has been passed down through generations, there must be some truth behind it. It seems that many people have seen and described angels, which allowed this belief to be deeply rooted and widely accepted by humanity. Their beliefs might be wrong and the names they gave might be incorrect, but there is a fixed reality that everyone has expressed in different ways. Here is an example to make this idea clearer. For example, imagine 3 of your friends come to you one by one. The first friend says, "Did you hear? A fire broke out at the tailor shop and spread to 10 other buildings." You decide to go check it out, and on your way, you meet your second friend. He says, "Did you hear? A fire started at the greengrocer's, and 3 shops are burning. There is some similarity, but his story is a bit different. As you continue towards the scene, you meet your third friend. He tells you, "Did you hear? A fire broke out at the carpenter shop and it's really bad." All 3 tell you different details, but you understand that there is a fixed reality. There is a fire somewhere. The details might be different, but the fire itself is undeniable. The idea of angels is just like this example. Even if the descriptions are incorrect, the fact that so many societies believe in something similar shows us that it must be a reality. What about atheists? How do they believe in angels? They also believe in them, but under a different name. There are some phrases people use without giving them much thought, like the forces at work in the universe or laws of nature. But isn't accepting the laws of nature the same as acknowledging the existence of unseen forces in the universe? After all, these laws don't have a physical body, right? For example, if you let go of a glass in your hand, it falls to the ground. This is due to the law of gravity, right? But physically, we only see the glass and the ground. The law itself is invisible. Now, think about the orderly movements of the planets. When we study them, we see precise and measured motions. And we name this a law, the law of gravity. Yet, this law has no physical existence. We only observe the results and give it a name. The laws of nature actually show the power of Allah. Everything is managed moment by Allah with precise measurements. And Allah uses angels to carry out this management. So, by accepting the laws and forces in nature, atheists unknowingly acknowledge both the existence of Allah and His angels. At this point, you might wonder, if Allah is all-powerful, why does He need angels? Why did He create them? Of course, Allah has no need for anything. Not everything is done out of necessity. There is a difference between need and will. Allah created angels not out of necessity, but by His will. Just as He doesn't need to create plants or animals, He doesn't need angels either. For example, we need food to survive, right? But offering food to others is an act of will, not necessity. And also, can the concept of need be thought about an all-powerful being? Certainly not. Allah creates everything for a specific purpose and benefit. And the creation of angels serves many purposes. One of the ways a kingdom shows its power is through the strength of its army. Similarly, angels are like the vast army of Allah, showing His limitless power. Behind every raindrop, there is an angel fulfilling its duty. Behind every atom, there is an angel at work. And behind the movements of planets and stars, angels are appointed. In other words, the entire universe is filled with an army of angels on duty. Through this, we understand how great Allah's power is. There is another purpose for the creation of angels. For example, a king does not directly handle seemingly small and ordinary tasks, but assigns them to his officers. Allah, the king of the universe, controls everything through His angels. For instance, a king doesn't clean the streets himself, right? He orders his servants to do so. Or a letter is sent by a messenger, not directly by the king. This way, the majesty of the king's throne is maintained in the eyes of the people. Likewise, Allah manages the universe through His angels so that His supreme authority remains respected in the eyes of His creation. However, in reality, all power and authority ultimately belong to Allah. Angels are not the source of power. They are just a veil, a means through which His commands are carried out. This veil also serves another purpose. When humans face difficult events, their frustration or complaints are not directed straight at Allah. Their attention is directed to these veils. For example, when Allah takes a life, He first creates the cause, like an illness, and then sends the angel of death to carry it out. The soul is taken through many layers of causes, so people's first reaction is directed at the illness and perhaps later at the angel of death. This way, the complaints or rebellious words spoken in moments of intense emotions are not directly aimed at Allah. Additionally, as we mentioned earlier in the video, angels contemplate the artistry in creation, recognize Allah through it, and glorify Him by making dhikr, remembrance of Allah. Angels spread throughout the universe, using every part of it as a place of worship. Everything becomes a means of praising Allah. The entire universe turns into a vast mosque, with everything involved in the remembrance of Allah. For purposes like these, Allah willed the creation of angels, not out of need, but to display His wisdom and power. As we said at the beginning, existence is not limited to what we can see. The human mind is not limited to what the eyes perceive. Our intellect, much like a telescope, allows us to uncover the hidden truths of the universe. Islam encourages us to go beyond what we see with our eyes and explore further with the telescope of our minds. It doesn't limit us only to the visible.